Hey everybody, this is Perch. Let's get right to this mail. I guess it's about drama. Anyway, Ryan Ottley drama to be specific. And I don't think I've ever done a video of Ryan Ottley drama, so this is new drama. But as you're about to see from the mail, it's actually not about Ryan Ottley, and it's about other idiots being dramatic and Ottley just trying to survive it. I mean, the Ottley drama that there ought to be is: did Ryan Ottley did he get a credit in the new Superman movie? Because some of his work in some very specific plot points were completely stolen from Invincible, but that's a video for another time. Anyway, not a fan of that particular plot point. I'm not going to say more, so because I don't want to get into spoilers territory. But well, actually, I'll say this: this doesn't spoil anything. I was talking to a friend, and I said I'd gotten about a week earlier kind of the worst possible take on Superman for when Superman enters the public domain, just the dumbest take. And decent parts of that dumb take were in the movie, so damn it. Anyway, I'll do a review of Superman later. And no, I don't hate it all, but there are definitely some parts I did not like to that film. But anyway, this is about Ryan Ottley and how he gets ripped off for Invincible. Anyway, no, I'm kidding. Hey, Percherino, very quick mail. I was just on Twitter. Then there's a little cringy smiley face emoji. Yeah, just scrolling and came across this whole thing. Apparently, Ryan Ottley drew Anissa from Invincible in Eve's costume. Apparently, Anissa raped Mark or something. Not sure, haven't read Invincible for commission. All right, so spoilers, I guess, but it's been a while. But if you're now watching the cartoon, I guess we're back into spoiler territory. Do you have to say spoilers if something was like put in a comic book, 10 years ago, and then a show's being made? I guess you got a new audience there, but like, I don't know. We're talking about comics today. Yes. At one point, they do a bit where Invincible, Mark, gets raped by a Viltrumite, Anissa. I guess Anissa. It's Anissa from what I've heard. But anyway, we'll see what the show says. Anyway, she basically fights him, pins him down, and rapes him. And it's a whole thing. And at the time, for what it's worth, there were kind of two angry groups about it. One angry group was upset because they're like, guys can't get raped. This is clearly an attack on women. There was an argument of, hey, this is, Me Tooing, or both sides-ing the issue of rape, and that it diminished rape somehow, that a guy was getting raped. I always love these arguments when they're trying to equate like a superhero being beaten by another superhero into submission, and then they're both flying around, but somehow this is hurting a real life. I don't understand. Anyway, that group was angry. And then there was another group angry because like almost the same argument. Like, guys can't get raped. They're stronger than women. Mark should have flipped her over and raped her instead. It's like, okay. She wanted to get pregnant was the reason why she raped him. The whole point was that Mark was told he needs to go out there and get a super harem, trademark, and breed. And that's what he needed to do. And that's basically what his race wants him to do. And but he wasn't raping all the women. And so Anissa showed up and raped him instead. Then they had several issues where he was traumatized about it. But that was something that happened in the comics. Anyway, back to the mail. It says, and as expected, forgive me for the expression, some of the few remnants of the previously active woke cancelers came after him with the usual buzzwords, calling him a weirdo, problematic, a gooner, disappointing, unfollowed, canceled, etc. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The group of the gooner squad that's out there, which I see a lot on right now, the anti-woke crowd, really pushing that narrative. I guess they become born-again Christians and suddenly boobs are gooner. Bro, I'm sorry. You were the same ones, arguing that Deodorantos was a dumpster 10 years ago. You can't turn around and hate boobs now. I'm sorry. What the hell? What's wrong with you? Anyway. Okay, from Mel. Now, from a purely artistic standpoint, I was appalled by this. Can't an artist draw his own creations however he wants without the internet mob getting angry? Does he have to toe the line to supposedly morally superior virtue signalers? I think not. So far, he's standing by his voice, but I hope to God he doesn't apologize because that never ends well. Anyway, would love to hear your take on this big fan. Thank you. No, he shouldn't apologize. I mean, for fuck's sake, it's first of all, he's an artist. He's getting a commission. I'm again. What are we getting pissed at? We're getting pissed at Anissa being drawn in Eve's costume, and because this relates to a storyline that, by the way, had didn't come out of nowhere. No pun intended. It was there was lots of reasons. It wasn't like they had taken a well-established series and then retconned in that the super character needed to have sex with all the women in order to breed. That would be stupid. But it, but no, it's just dumb. This is just dumb, and it's people wanting to exert power over other people. Look, this is in the same dumb vein. And for what it's worth, it feels like Twitter. And I guess Blue Sky. I've gone over Blue Sky twice based on somebody's like, hey, you got to check this out, and it was like that community meme of the guy showing up with pizza and opens the apartment door, and there's just everything's on fire. Blue Sky is a hellscape of stupidity, and Twitter X is pretty much the same. People are they get pissed, but they're not really pissed. It's completely and utterly performative, and the way maybe to think about it is. You know how in comics, and you fill in the blank, you're going to do it. There are individuals who have a decent amount of followers, and maybe they're on YouTube, or maybe they're comic writers, or maybe they're big personalities in comics, and they are complete and utter dicks. And they have assembled a legion of dicks who follow them like insane cult following sycophants who defend and attack anything based on their master's will. Okay, you've seen this in comics. Right now you've got several names in your head already. I know you do. Now, keep in mind that every single part of any pop culture has those individuals in it, along with their hundreds of moron fans. And that's what you get. If you go look at the internet wrestling community. I don't even watch wrestling closely anymore. It's been a long time. And I still see some of this stuff come up on my feed, and it's some of the dumbest shit possible. Apparently, Jacob Fatu, who is Samoan, but maybe there's some African American in his heritage as well. I don't, who knows? Anyway, he did a rap song and he used the N-word in it. And you have people losing their minds trying to get him canceled, fired, all the rest. And it's not a good look. There's just phrases not a good look is one of those. The ones you mentioned, hated, gooner, all this kind of stuff. If the people who are using that, the amount of credibility that instantly disappears in my mind when I see somebody using those words, it vanishes immediately. But no, he shouldn't apologize. Like he's an artist. He's a co-creator of Invincible. He can draw what he wants. Again, I was going to say, it's amazing what people get pissed off about, because if you go to a convention, I mean, artists get asked to draw feet. They get asked to draw, they're I was with an artist who will remain nameless, but he had done a bunch of work for Shazam. And with a completely straight face, unabashed, a fan comes up, it's like, I want to pay you to do a commission. I want Captain Marvel, Billy. I want him ejaculating. You're going to draw him with his pants down, frantically rubbing one out. And it's at the moment of climax, and lightning is shooting out of his dick as he's shouting Shazam. And the guy's explaining this, and the artist is looking at me like, what the fuck is going on right now? That's kind of stuff is all common, very common. And so, like, you're going to get all outraged because the guy drew a character in a comic who was a villain, a Viltrumite villain, who kind of, I want to say reformed, but, was a villain, raped the main character, and you're going to draw her in the Adam Eve costume. Like, why is that subject for cancellation? Why is that subject for very disappointed? Why? Well, the Perch doesn't get it. It is very disappointing. No, just shut the fuck up. This is silly. So no, Ryan Ottley should absolutely not apologize. He can draw what he wants when he wants it. He doesn't have to draw. I mean, he could decide he wants to draw that one day. He can decide he never wants to draw it again another day. It's his call. These are his characters, along with Kirkman, that he created for Invincible. He created that universe. He breathed these characters into life. And if somebody wants a drawing of them and they want to pay money for it and he wants to take that money, more power to him. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. If you are angry and this is like you think what you think, the audacity here is you think you get to control what somebody else can draw and take money for. Because you're on Twitter and because you can use the word gooner and disappointing, you believe that you now are basically, Ottley's agent, and you get to pick and choose what projects he gets to do because you, sitting behind your keyboard, are the moral authority of, what gets to be drawn. Listen, I mean, just say that stuff out loud. It sounds insane because it is. And that goes for all of us, by the way, everyone. The people listening to the show right now, we can comment and we can have opinions and we can discuss comics all we want all day long. But we have no power over these people. I find the whole Paul and Spider-Man situation incredibly aggravating. Spider-Man should be with Mary Jane. It's stupid. They'd make more money. I can give you a million reasons why it is dumb, stubborn, and obnoxious for them not to have Spider-Man with Mary Jane. However, I don't own those characters. I'm not the authority figure at Marvel. So therefore, I get to either, I can choose to ignore those comics. I can choose to be mad about them or things. But one thing I cannot choose to do is to pretend that I have the power over Marvel to get them to stop publishing those comics. I don't have that power. So what makes people wake up in the morning and think they have that authority to tell people what they get to do or not do and throw around these kind of slurs? I mean, it's just stupid. We continue to live in the world of dumb for Twitter, of people who just think that because they can type, they now get to have a say in what gets done. That's just dumb, and it's aggravating, and Oddly should never apologize. Thanks for listening.